can I feel the weight in the room? I'm not dealing with that. Some super secret conspiracy. Bunch of paranoid schizophrenics who have been caught, who are trying to bring other people down with them. That's what it seems like. Anyway, on camera here, it's good as live. It's as good as live. I mean, what is it going to take nowadays? Do I need to come up with holograms? Bunch of delusional maniacs who don't want to accept it.
I did.
Try to beat their way out. They are not. Get out of the room.
I did do that.
The corners down here. So anyway, we're going to move on. The first part of the King Henry VI with Shakespeare. I just like hanging out with Shakespeare is what it is. I'm kind of bored. I don't know what to do. I don't want to play a game. I don't want to do live stream yet. Magic's pissing me off that bad. Like, I'm not progressing that much. It's making me that angry. I think it's making everybody angry. As far as I'm concerned, everybody that I know. I hang in there though. It's like, the stuff that happens, it's like, dude, you're a bitch. I'm not gonna lie. Whoever made this, that's a bitch move. And I mean, like, in the deepest depths of the soul, you're a bitch. I'm saying if we were to sacrifice you, you would be the guy to sacrifice. I'm not gonna lie. You're like the guy that he unscrews the salt shaker. You know what I mean? Ah, all the salt shakes out. That's you. I just don't believe. I mean, I saw it. I saw it at the table. I'll be honest, a couple times. You're a bitch. That's all there is to it. Act 1. Let's get King Henry VI out before I get in here. I want to see a picture of you. How now? King Henry VI, how now? Hello. The girls. I think this was talked about. All right. I always said that the gatekeeper has all the power here. Stick around, King. King Henry VI, Act 1. Scene, partly in England and partly in France. Scene 1, Westminster Abbey. Dead March. Enter the funeral of King Henry V, attended on by the Dukes of Bedford, Gloucester and Exeter, the Earl of Warwick, the Bishop of Winchester, heralds, and etc. Hung be the heavens with black yield day to night. Comets importing change of times and states, brandish your crystal tresses in the sky, and with them scourge the bad revolting stars, that have consented unto Henry's death. King Henry V, too famous to live long, England ne'er lost a king of so much worth. England ne'er had a king until his time, virtue he had, deserving to command. His brandished sword did blind men with his beams, his arms spread wider than a dragon's wings, his sparkling eyes replete with wrathful fire, more dazzled and drove back his enemies than midday sun fierce bent against their faces. What should I say? His deeds exceed all speech. He ne'er lift up his hand, but conquered. We mourn in black. Why mourn we not in blood? Henry is dead and never shall revive. Upon a wooden coffin we attend, and death's dishonorable victory we with our stately presence glorify, like captives bound to a triumphant car. What? Shall we curse the planets of mishap, that plotted thus our glories overthrow? Or shall we think the subtle-witted French conjurers and sorcerers that afraid of him by magic verses have contrived his end? He was a king blessed of the King Kings, and to the French the dreadful judgment day so dreadful will not be as was his sight. The battles of the Lord of hosts he fought. The church's prayers made him so prosperous. The church, where is it? Had not churchmen prayed, his thread of life had not so soon decayed. None do you like but an effeminate prince, whom like a schoolboy you may overawe. Gloucester, whate'er we like, thou art protector, and lookest to command the prince and realm. The wife is proud, she holdeth thee in awe, more than God or religious churchman may. Name not religion, for thou lovest the flesh, and ne'er throughout the year to church thou goest, except be to pray against thy foes. Cease, cease these jars, and rest your minds in peace, lest to the altar heralds wait on us. Instead of gold we'll offer up our arms, since arms avail not. Now that Henry's dead, posterity await for wretched years, when at their mother's moist eyes babes shall suck. Our isles be made of marish of salt tears, and none but women left to wail the dead. Henry V, the ghost I invocate. Prosper this realm, keep it from civil broils. Combat with the adverse planets in the heavens. A far more glorious star thy soul will make than Julius Caesar or Bright. Enter a messenger. My honorable lords, health to you all. Sad tidings bring I to you out of France, of loss, of slaughter, and discomfiture. Juin, Champagne, Reims, Orleans, Paris, Geysers, Poitiers are all quite lost. What sayest thou, man, before dead Henry's course? Speak softly, or the loss of those great towns will make him burst his lead and rise from death. Is Paris lost? Is Rome yielded up? If Henry were recalled to life again, these news would cause him once more yield the ghost. How were they lost? What treachery was us oozed? No treachery, but want of men and money. Among the soldiers this is muttered, that here you maintain several factions, and whilst the field should be dispatched and fought, you are disputing of your generals. One would have lingering wars with little cost, another would fly swift, but wanteth wings, a third thinks without expense at all, but guileful fair words peace may be obtained. Awake, awake, English nobility. I will afterward. I'll do it in the live, if I remember questions and answers. And I've already answered that one. Let's start a riot. Let's not. Let's not sloth dim your honors new begot. I'll show you mercy today. Cropped are the flower de luce in your arms, of England's coat one half is cut away. Were our tears wanting to this funeral, these tidings will call forth her flowing tides. Me they concern. Regent I am of France. Give me my steeled coat. I'll fight for France. Away with this disgraceful wailing robes. Wounds will I lend the French instead of eyes, to weep their intermissive miseries. Enter another messenger. Lords, view these letters full of bad mischance. France is revolted from the English quite, except some petty towns of no import. The Dauphin Charles is crowned king in Reims, the bastard of Orleans with him is joined. Rainier, Duke of Anjou, doth take his part. The Duke of Valenciennes flieth to his side. The Dauphin crowned king, all fly to him. Oui, whither shall we fly from this reproach? We will not fly, but to our enemies' throats. Bedford, if thou be slack, I'll fight it out. Gloucester, why doubtest thou of my forwardness? An army have I mustered in my thoughts, wherewith already France is overrun. Enter a third messenger. Are we trending? A trendy dude. My gracious lords, to add to your laments, wherewith you now bedew King Henry's hearse, I must inform you of a dismal fight betwixt the stout Lord Talbot and the French. What? Wherein Talbot overcame? Is't so? Oh no, wherein Lord Talbot was overthrown, the circumstance I'll tell you more at large. The 10th of August last, this dreadful lord returned from the siege of Orleans, having full scarce 600 in his troop. By 23,000 of the French was round encompassed and set upon. No leisure had he to enrank his men. He wanted pikes to set before his archers. Instead whereof sharp stakes plucked out of hedges, they pitched in the ground confusedly, to keep the horsemen off from breaking in. More than 3 hours the fight continued, where valiant Talbot above human thought enacted wonders with his sword and lance. Hundreds he sent to hell, and none durst stand him. Here, there, and everywhere enraged he flew. The French exclaimed the devil was in arms. All the whole army stood gazed on him, his soldiers spying, his undaunted spirit. "A Talbot! A Talbot!" cried out the main, and rushed into the bowels of battle. Here had the conquest fully been sealed up, if Sir John Fastolfe had not played the coward. He, being devoured, placed behind with purpose to relieve and follow them. Cowardly fled, not having struck one stroke. Hence grew the general rack and massacre, enclosed where they with their enemies. A base Walloon, to win the Dauphin's grace, thrust Talbot with a spear into the back, whom all France with their chief assembled strength durst not presume to look once in the face. Is Talbot slain? Then I will slay myself for living idly here in pomp and ease, whilst such a worthy leader, wanting aid, unto his dastard foeman is betrayed. Oui, no, he lives, but is took prisoner, and Lord Scales with him, and Lord Hunger Ford. Most of the rest slaughtered took likewise. His ransom there is none but I shall pay. I'll hale the Dauphin headlong from his throne. His crown shall be the ransom, my friend, for of their lords I'll change for one of yours. Farewell, my masters, to my task will I. Bonfires in France forthwith I am to make, to keep our great St. George's feast withal. 10,000 soldiers with me I will take, whose bloody deeds shall make all Europe quake. So you had need, for Orleans is besieged, the English army is grown weak and faint. The Earl of Salisbury craveth supply, and hardly keeps his men from mutiny, since they so few watched such a multitude. Remember, lords, your oaths to Henry sworn, either to quell the Dauphin utterly, or bring him to obedience to your yoke. I do remember it, and here take my leave, to go about my preparation. Out to the tower with all haste I can, to view the artillery and munition, and then I will proclaim young Henry king. To Eltham will I, where the young king is, being ordained his special governor, and for his safety there I'll best devise. Each hath his place and function to attend. I am left out. For me nothing remains, but long I will not be Jack out of office. The king from Eltham I intend to steal, and sit at chiefest stern of public weal. Scene 2, France before Orleans. Flourish intercharged with his forces, Alencion, Rainier, and others. Mars is true moving, even as in the heavens, so in the earth, so this day is not known. Late did he shine upon the English side. Now we are victors, upon us he smiles. What towns of any moment but we have? At pleasure here we lie near Orleans. Other whiles the famished English, like pale ghosts, faintly besiege us 1 hour in a month. Then with their porridge and their fastable beads, either they must be dieted like mules, and have their provender tied to their mouths, or piteous they will look like drowned mice. Let's raise the siege, while live we idly here. Talbot is taken, whom we want to fear. Remaineth none but mad-brained Salisbury, and he may well in French skin his gall. Nor men nor money hath he to make war. Sound, sound, allure him, we will rush on them. Now for the honor of the forlorn French. How I forgive my death that killeth me, when he sees me go back 1 foot or fly. Excursions, afterwards the retreat re-entered Charles, Alencion, Rainier, and others. Whoever saw the like? What men have I? Dogs, cowards, dastards, I would ne'er have fled, but that left me amidst my enemies. Salisbury is a desperate homicide. He fighteth as one weary of his life. The other lords, like lions wanting food, do rush upon us as their hungry prey. Froissart, a countryman of ours, records England all olives and Roland bread during the time Edward III did reign. More truly now may this be verified, For none but Samson and Golasis it sendeth forth to skirmish. 1 to 10. Lean, raw, bond rascals, who would e'er suppose they had such courage and audacity? Let's leave this town, for they are hair-brained slaves, and hunger will enforce them to be more eager. Of old I know them. Rather with their teeth the walls they'll tear down than forsake the siege. I think, by some odd riddle or device, their arms are set like clocks, still to strike on, else ne'er could they hold out so as they do. By my consent will e'en let them alone. Be it so. Enter the bastard Orleans. Where's the Prince Dauphin? I have news for him. Bastard of Orleans, thrice welcome to us. Methinks your looks are sad, your cheek appalled. Hath the late overthrow wrought this offence? Be not dismayed, for succour is at hand. A holy maid hither with me I bring, which by a vision sent to her from heaven upturned, ordained is to raise the tedious siege, and drive the English forth the bounds of France. This is a deep prophecy she hath, exceeding the 9 sibyls of old Rome. What's past and what's to come she can descry. Speak, shall I call her in? Believe my words, for they are certain and infallible. Go, call her in, but first, to try her skill, Rainer, stand thou as Dauphin in my place. Question her proudly, let thy looks be stern. By this means shall we sound what skill she hath. Re-enter the Bastard of Orleans with Joan, La, Pucelle, and others. Fair maid, it's thou wilt do these wondrous feats? Rainer, it's thou that thinkest to beguile me? Where's the Dauphin? Come, from behind. I know thee well. Thou never seen before. Be not amazed. There's nothing hid from me. In private will I talk with thee apart. Stand back, you lords, and give us leave a while. She takes upon her bravely at first dash. Dauphin, I am but birth a shepherd's daughter. My wit untrained in any kind of art. Heaven and our Lady gracious hath it pleased to shine on my contemptible estate. Lo, whilst I waited on my tender lambs, and to sun's parching heat displayed my cheeks, God's mother deigned to appear to me, and in a vision full of majesty willed me to leave my base vocation and free my country from calamity. Her aid she promised and assured success. In complete glory she revealed herself, and whereas I was black and swart before, with those clear rays which she infused on me, that beauty am I blessed with which you see. Ask me what question thou canst possible, and I will answer unpremeditated. My courage try by combat, if thou darest, and thou shalt find that I exceed my sex. Resolve on this, thou shalt be fortunate if thou receive me for thy warlike mate. Thou hast astonished me with thy high terms, only this proof I'll of thy valor make. In single combat thou shalt buckle with me, and if thou vanquishest, thy words are true. Otherwise I renounce all confidence. I am prepared. Here's my keen-edged sword, decked with 5 flowered deluces on each side, the which at Turin in St. Catherine's churchyard, out of a great deal of old iron I chose forth. Then come, with God's name I fear no woman, and while I live I'll ne'er fly from a man. Stay thy hands, thou art an Amazon, and fightest with the sword of Deborah. Christ's mother helps me, else I were too weak. Where it helps thee, 'tis thou that must help me. Impatiently I burn with thy desire. My heart and hands thou hast at once subdued. Excellent Pucelle, if thy name be so, let me thy servant and not sovereign be. 'Tis the French Dauphin sueth to thee thus. I must not yield to any rites of love, for my profession's sacred from above. When I have chased all thy foes from hence, then will I think upon a recompense. Meantime look gracious on thy prostrate thrall. Why don't everybody just get involved? My lord, methinks it is very long in talk. Doubtless he thrives this woman to her smock. Now snare could he so long protract his speech. Shall we disturb him, since he keeps no mean? He may mean more than we poor men do know. These women are shrewd tempters with their tongues. My lord, where are you? What device you on? Shall we give you Orleans or no? Why no, I say, distressful recreants. Fight till the last gasp. I will be your guard. What she says I'll confirm. We'll fight it out. Assigned am I to be the English scourge. This night the siege assuredly I'll raise. Expect St. Martin's summer, Alcyon, days, since I have entered into these wars. Glory is like a circle in the water, which never ceases to enlarge itself, till by broad spreading it dispersed to naught. With Henry's death the English circle ends, dispersed are the glories it included. Now am I like the proud insulting ship, which Caesar and his fortune bare at once. Was Mahomet inspired with a dove? Thou with an eagle art inspired then. Helen, the mother of great Constantine, nor yet St. Philip's daughters were like thee, bright star of Venus, fallen down on the earth. How may I reverently worship thee enough? Leave off delays, and let us raise the siege. Woman, do what thou canst to save our honors. Drive them from Orleans, and be immortalized. Presently we'll try. Come, let's away about it. No prophet will I trust if she prove false. Scene 3, London, before the Tower. Enter at the gates the Duke of Gloucester with the serving men in blue coats. I am come to survey the Tower this day. Since Henry's death, I fear there is conveyance. Where be these warders that they wait not here? Open the gates, 'tis Gloucester that calls. Who's there that knocks so imperiously? It is the noble Duke of Gloucester. Whoever he be, you may not be let in. Villains, answer you, so the Lord Protector? The Lord protect him, so we answer him. We do not otherwise than we are willed. Who willed you? Or whose will stands but mine? There's none protector of the realm but I. Break up the gates, I'll be your warranties. Shall I be flattered thus by dunghill grooms? What noise is this? What traitors have we here? Lieutenant, is it you whose voice I hear? Open the gates. Here's Gloucester that would enter. Have patience, noble Duke. I may not open. The Cardinal of Winchester forbids. From him I have express commandment that thou nor none of thine shall be let in. Faint-hearted Woodvile prizest him for me? Arrogant Winchester, that haughty prelate, whom Henry our late sovereign ne'er could brook, that art no friend to God or to the king. Open the gates, or I'll shut thee out shortly. Open the gates unto the Lord Protector, or we'll burst them open, if that you come not quickly. Enter Winchester, attended by serving men in tawny coats. How now, ambitious Humphrey, what means this? Peeled priest, dost thou command me to be shut out? I do. Thou most usurping prodigator, and not protector of the king or realm. Stand back, thou manifest conspirator, thou that contrivest to murder our dead lord, thou that givest whores indulgences to sin. I'll canvass thee in thy broad cardinal's hat, if thou proceed in this thy insolence. Nay, stand thou back, I will not budge a foot. This be Damascus, be thou cursed Cain, to slay thy brother Abel if thou wilt. I will not slay thee, but I'll drive thee back. Thy scarlet robe and the child's barren cloth I'll use to carry thee out of this place. Do what thou darest. I'll beard thee to thy face. What, am I dared and bearded to my face? Draw, men, for all this privileged place. Blue coats to tawny coats. Priests, beware your beard. I mean to tug it and to cuff you soundly. Under my feet I stamp thy cardinal's hat, in spite of pope or dignities of church. Here by the cheeks I'll drag thee up and down. Gloucester, thou answer this before the pope. Winchester goose, I cry a rope, a rope. Now beat them hence. Why do you let them stay? Thee I'll chase hence, thou wolf's in sheep's array. Out! Tawny coats, Out, scarlet hypocrite! So, I'm just saying, we're not going to let another country... We're not going to do this conspiracy theory military. I'm not arguing. You're going to start a civil war. Fie, lords, that you being supreme magistrates, thus continuously should break the peace. Peace, Mayor, thou knowest little my wrongs. Here's Beaufort, that regards nor God nor king, hath here distrained the tower to his use. Here's Gloucester, a foe to citizens, one that still motions war and never peace, or exchanging your free purses with large fines, that seeks to overthrow religion because he is the protector of the realm, and would have armor here out of the tower, to crown himself king and suppress the prince. I will not answer thee with words, but blows. Not rest for me in this tumultuous strife, but to make open proclamation. Come, officer, as loud as e'er thou canst cry. All manner of men assembled here in arms this day against God's peace and the king's we charge and command you, in his highness' name, to repair to your several dwelling places, and not to wear, handle, or use any sword, weapon, or dagger henceforth upon pain of death. Cardinal, I'll be no breaker of the law, but we shall meet and break our minds at large. Gloucester, we will meet. To thy cost be sure. Thy heart's blood I will have for this day's work. I'll call for clubs if you will not weigh. This cardinal's more haughty than the devil. Mayor, farewell. Thou dost but what thou mayest. Abominable Gloucester, guard thy head, for I intend to have it ere long. See the coast cleared, and then we will part. Good God, these nobles should such stomachs bear. I myself fight not once in 40 years. Scene 4. France before Orleans. Enter on the walls the master gunner and his boy. Sirrah, thou knowest how Orleans is besieged, and how the English hath suburbs won. Father, I know, and oft have shot at them. However, unfortunate I missed my aim. But now thou shalt not. Be thou ruled by me. Chief master gunner am I of this town. Something I must do to procure me grace. The prince's espials have informed me how the English in the suburbs close entrenched want through a secret gate of iron bars in yonder tower to overpeer the city, and thence discover how, with most advantage, they may vex us with shot or with assault, to intercept this inconvenience. A piece of ordnance against it I have placed, and fully even these 3 days have I watched, if I could see them. Now, boy, do thou watch, for I can stay no longer. If thou spiest any, run and bring me word, and thou shalt find me at the governor's. Father, I warrant you, take you no care. I'll never trouble you if I may spy them. Enter on the church the Lord Salisbury and Talbot, Sir Williams Glinsdale, Sir Thomas, Gargrave, and others. Talbot, my life, my joy, again returned. How wert thou handled being prisoner? Or by what means gotst thou to be released discourse? I prithee on this turret's top. The Duke of Bedford had a prisoner called the brave Lord Ponton de Saint-Tralles. For him I was exchanged and ransomed. But with a baser man at arms by far once in contempt, they would have bartered me, which I disdained, scorned, and craved death rather than I would be so vile esteemed. In fine, redeemed I was that desired, but away the treacherous Fastolf wounds my heart, whom with my bare fists I would execute if I now had been brought into my power. Yet tell'st thou not how thou wert entertained? With scoffs and scorns and contemptuous taunts, an open market-place produced they me, to be a public spectacle to all. Here, said they, is the terror of the French, the scarecrow that affrights our children so. Then broke I from the officers that led me, and with my nails digged stones out of the ground, to hurl at the beholders of my shame. My grisly countenance made others fly. None durst come near for fear of sudden death. In iron walls they deemed me not secure. So great fear of my name amongst them was spread, that they supposed I could rend bars of steel and spurn in pieces posts of adamant, where for a guard of chosen shot I made others that walked about me every minute while, and if I did but stir out of my bed, ready they were to shoot me to the heart. Enter the boy with the linstock. I grieve to hear what torments you endured, but we will be revenged sufficiently. Now, it is supper time in Orleans. Here, through this gate, I count each one, and view the Frenchmen how they fortify. Let us look in. The sight will much delight thee, Sir Thomas Gargrave, and Sir William Glansdale. Let me have your express opinions where is best place to make our battery next. I think at the north gate, for there stand the lords, and I here at the bulwark of the bridge. For aught I see, the city must be famished, or with light skirmishes enfeebled. Oi, Lord, have mercy on us wretched sinners. Oi, Lord, have mercy on me, woeful man. What chance is this that suddenly hath crossed us? Speak, Salisbury, at least if thou canst speak. How farest thou, mirror of all martial men? One of thy eyes and thy cheeks side struck off. A cursed tower, a cursed fatal hand that hath contrived this woeful tragedy. In 13 battles, Salisbury erst came. Henry V he first trained to do the wars, while any trump did sound or drum struck. His sword did ne'er leave striking in the field. Yet livest thou, Salisbury? Thou thy speech doth fail. One eye thou hast to look to heaven for grace. The sun with one eye vieweth all the world. Heaven be thou gracious to none alive, if Salisbury wants mercy at thy hands. Bear hence his body. I will help to bear it, Sir Thomas Gargrave. Hast thou any life? Speak unto Talbot. Nay, look up to him. Salisbury, cheer thy spirit with this comfort. Thou shalt not die, whilst he beckons his hand and smiles on me, as who should say, when I am dead and gone, remember to avenge me on the French. Plantagenet, I will, and like thee, Nero, play on the lute. Behold, in the town burned, wretched shall France be only in my name. What stir is this? What tumults in the heaven? Whence cometh the alarm and the noise? Enter a messenger. My lord, the French have gathered head. The Dauphin with one Joan Lapucelle of Germany, the holy prophetess, now risen up. They come with a great power to raise the siege. Hear, hear, how dying Salisbury doth groan. It irks his heart he cannot be revenged, Frenchmen. I'll be a Salisbury to you. Fusilli, or Puzzle, Dauphin or Dogfish, your hearts I'll stamp out with my horse's heels and make a quagmire of your mingled brains. Conveys me, Salisbury, to his tent, and then we'll try what these dastard Frenchmen dare. Scene 5 the same, before one of the gates. Alirum skirmishes enter Talbot, pursuing the Dauphin, drives him in and exit. Then enter Joan Lapucelle, driving Englishmen before her, and exit after them. Then enter Talbot. Where's my strength, my valor, my force? Our English troops retire. I cannot stay them. A woman clad in armor chaseth them. Re-enter Joan Lapucelle. Here she comes. I'll have a bout with thee. Devil or devil's dam, I'll conjure thee. Blood will I draw on thee, thou art a witch, and straightway give thy soul to him thou servest. Come, 'tis only I that must disgrace thee. Heavens, can you suffer hell so to prevail? My breast I'll burst with straining my courage, and from my shoulders crack my arms asunder, but I will chastise this high-minded strumpet. Talbot, farewell. Thy hour is not yet come. I must go victual Orleans forthwith. O'ertake me, if thou canst. I scorn thy strength. Go, cheer up thy hunger-starved men. Help Salisbury to make his testament. This day is ours, as many more shall be. My thoughts are whirled like a potter's wheel. I know not where I am, nor what I do. A witch, by fear not for us, like Hannibal, drives back our troops and conquers as she lists. So bees with smoke and doves with noisome stench are from their hives and houses driven away. They called us from our fiercest English dogs. Now, like the Welsh, we cry and run away. Hark, countrymen, either renew the fight or tear the lions out of England's coat. renounce your soil. Give sheep and lions seed. Sheep run not half so treacherous from the wolf, or horse or oxen from the leopard. As you fly from your ox and rude slave, it will not be. Retire into your trenches. You all consented unto Salisbury's death. For none would strike a stroke in his revenge. Fusils entered into Orleans, in spite of us, or aught that we could do. Oy, would I was to die with Salisbury, the shame hereof will make me hide my head. Scene 6 the same. Flourish, enter on the walls. Joan Fusil, Charles Rainier, Alencion, and soldiers. Advance our waving colors on the walls. Rescued his Orleans from English. Thus Joan la Fusil hath performed her word. Divinest creature, Astraeus' daughter, how shall I honor thee for the success? Thy promises are like a Adonis garden, that one day bloomed and fruitful were the next. France triumphed in that glorious prophetess. Recovered is the town of Orleans. More blessed hap did ne'er befall our state. Why ring not out the bells throughout the town? Dauphin, command the citizens make bonfires and feasts and banquet in the open streets, to celebrate the joy that God hath given us. All France will be replete with mirth and joy, when they shall hear how we have played the men. 'Tis Joan, not we, by whom this day is won, for which I will divide my crown with her. And all the priests and friars in my realm shall in procession sing her endless praise. A statelier pyramid to her I'll rear than Rhodes or Memphis ever was. In memory of her when she is dead, her ashes in an urn more precious than the rich jeweled coffer of Darius, transported shall be at high festivals before the king and queens of France. No longer on Saint Denis will we cry, but Joan la Fusil shall be France's saint. Come in and let us banquet royally after this golden day of victory. Okay. Act 2, Scene 1, before Orleans. Enter the gates, a French sergeant and 2 sentinels. King Henry VI, Part 1. Sirs, take your places and be vigilant. Have any noise of soldiers you perceive near to the walls by some apparent sign, let us have knowledge at the court of guard. Sergeant, you shall. Thus our poor servitors, when others sleep upon their quiet beds, constrained to watch in darkness, rain, and cold, enter Talbot, Bedford, Burgundy, and forces were scaling ladders, their drums beating a dead march. Lord Regent had redoubted Burgundy, by whose approach the regions of Artois, Walloon and Picardy are friends to us. This happy night the Frenchmen are secured, having all day caroused and banqueted, embrace we then this opportunity, as fitting best to quit into their deceit, contrived by art and baleful sorcery. Coward France, how much he wrongs his fame, despairing of his own armed fortitude to join with witches in the help of hell. Traitors have never other company, but what's that Fusil whom they term so pure? A maid, they say. A maid, and be so martial. Pray God she prove not masculine ere long, if underneath the standard of the French care armor as she hath begun. Well, let them practice and converse with spirits. God is our fortress, in whose conquering name let us resolve to scale their flinty bulwarks. Ascend, brave Talbot, we will follow thee. Not talk together, better fall, I guess, that we do make our entrance several ways, that if a chance the one of us do fail, the other yet may rise against their force. Agreed. I'll to yon corner, and I to this. And here will Talbot mount, or make his grave. Now, Salisbury, for thee and for the right of English, Henry, shall this night appear how much in duty I am bound to both. The French leap over the walls in their shirts, enter several ways bastards of Orleans, Alencon and Rainer, half ready and half unready. How now, my lords? What? Already so? All unready so? Unready? Aye, and glad we scaped so well. 'Twas time, I trow, to wake and leave our beds, here in our lurums and our chamber doors. Of all exploits since first I followed arms, ne'er I heard of a warlike enterprise, more venturous or desperate than this. I think this Talbot to be fiend of hell. If not of hell, the heavens sure favor him. Here cometh Charles, I marvel how he sped. Tut, holy Joan was his defensive guard. The Charles was Joan le Pucelle. Is this thy cunning, thou deceitful dame? Didst thou at first to flatter us withal, make us partakers of a little gain, that now our loss might be 10 times so much? Wherefore is Charles impatient with his friend? At all times will you have my power alike. Sleeping or waking, must I still prevail, or will you blame and lay the fault on me? Improvident soldiers, had your watch been good, this sudden mischief never could have fallen. Duke of Alencon, this was your default, that being captain of the watch tonight did look no better to that weighty charge. Had all your portraits been so safely kept, as that wherefore I had the government, we had not been thus shamefully surprised. Mine was secure, and so was mine, my lord, and for myself, most part of all this night, within her quarter and mine own precinct, I was employed in passing to and fro, about relieving of the sentinels. Then how or which way should they first break in? Question, my lord, no further the case. How or which way? 'Tis sure they found some place, but weakly guarded where the breach was made. And now there rests no further shift but this, to gather our soldiers scattered and dispersed, and lay new platforms to endamage them. Enter an English soldier crying, Talbot, Talbot. They fly, leaving their clothes behind. I'll be so bold to take what they have left. The cry of Talbot serves me for a sword, for I have loaded me with many spoils, using no other weapon but his name. Scene 2, Orleans, within the tower. Enter Talbot, Bedford, Burgundy, a captain, and others. The day begins to break, and night is fled, whose pitchy mantle overveiled the earth. Here sound, retreat, and cease our hot pursuit. Bring forth the body, bold Salisbury, and here advance in it to the marketplace. The middle center of his cursed town, now have I paid my vow unto his soul, for every drop of blood was drawn from him. There hath at least 5 Frenchmen died tonight, and that hereafter ages may behold what ruin happened in revenge of him. Within their chief's temple I'll erect a tomb wherein his corpse shall be interred, upon the which, that everyone may read, shall be engraved the sack of Orleans, the treacherous manner of his mournful death, and what a terror he had been to France. But lords, in all her bloody massacre, I muse we met not with the Dauphin's grace, his new-come champion, virtuous Joan of Arc, nor in his false confederates. 'Tis thought, Lord Talbot, when the fight began, roused on the sudden from their drowsy beds, they did amongst the troops of armed men leap o'er the walls for refuge in the field. Myself, as far as I could well discern from smoke and dusty vapors of the night, am sure I scared the Dauphin and his troll, when arm in arm they both came swiftly running, like to a pair of loving turtle doves that could not live asunder day or night. After that things are set in order here, we'll follow them with all the power we have. Enter a messenger, Orleans. All hail, my lords, which of this princely train call ye the warlike Talbot, for his acts so much applauded through the realm of France? Here's the Talbot, Who would speak with him? The virtuous lady, Countess of Auvergne, with modesty admiring thy renown. By my entreaties, great lord, thou wouldst vouchsafe to visit her poor castle where she lies, that she may boast she hath beheld the man whose glory fills the world with loud reports. Is it even so? Nay, then I see our wars will turn into a peaceful comic sport, when ladies crave to be encountered with. You may not, my lord, despise her gentle suit. Nay, trust me then, for when a world of men could not prevail with all their oratory, yet hath the woman kindness overruled. And therefore tell her I return great thanks, and in submission will attend on her. Will not your honors bear me company? No, truly.
Back to square one.
It is more than manners will, and I have heard it said, unbidden guests, and often welcomest when they are gone. Well then alone, since there's no remedy, I mean to prove this lady's courtesy. Come hither, captain, you perceive my mind. I do, my lord, and mean accordingly. Scene 3, Auvergne, port of the castle. Enter the countess and reporter. Are you gonna keep chasing me down? Porter, remember what I gave in charge. And when you have done so, bring the keys to me. Madam, I will. The plot is laid. If all things fall out right, I shall as famous be by this exploit as Scythian Tomarus by Cyrus' death. Great is the rumor of this dreadful knight, and his achievements are no less account. Fain would mine eye be witness with mine ears, to give their censor of these rare reports. Enter your messenger and Talbot. Madam, according as your ladyship desired, my message craved, so is Lord Talbot come, and he is welcome. What is this man? Madam, it is. Is this the scourge of France? Is this the Talbot, so much feared abroad, that with his name the mothers seal their babes? I see reporters fabulous and false. I thought I should have seen some Hercules, a second Hector for his grim aspect, and large proportion of his strong knit limbs. Alas, this is the child, the silly dwarf. It cannot be this weak and riddled shrimp to strike such terror in his enemies. Man, I have been told... No. No. I have been bold, so trouble you. I'm not dealing with it. Either way you look at it, my name's on the ground and I will kill you. Let me stop you here. To the person shaking my ass, military. This is some super secret military conspiracy that you're going to come out with for everyone to see. Oh, we're going to start a war here with Clayton Smith. I will bomb the fuck out of this country, I promise you. We'll go ahead and end that right now. As I see what you're doing with this, we're going to latch on for 50 fucking years. When you already knew it to begin with. Oh, we're not doing... Get off his neck. We're not doing... Get off. Ah. Madam, I have been bold to trouble you, but since your ladyship is not at leisure, I'll sort some other time to visit you. What means he now? Go ask him whither he goes. Yeah, what was that? I just heard you. Stay, my Lord Talbot, for my lady craves to know the cause of your abrupt departure. I should have a woman in my bed right now, and I'm more than angry, and I promise you every fucking child. You think it's a joke, it is not. To know the cause of your abrupt departure. Mary, for that she's in a wrong belief. I go to certify her Talbot's here. Bring to Porter with keys. If thou be he, then out thou prisoner. Prisoner to whom? To me, bloodthirsty lord. and for that cause I trained thee to my house. Long time thy shadow hath been thrall to me, for in my gallery thy picture hangs. But now the substance shall endure the like, and I will chain thee legs and arms of thine, and hast by tyranny these many years wasted our country, slain our citizens, and sent our sons and husbands captivate. Ha ha ha! Laughest thou, wretch? Thy mirth shall turn to moan. I laugh to see your ladyship so fond, to think that you have aught but Talbot's shadow, whereon to practice your severity. Oh, why art not thou the man? I am indeed. Then have I substance too. No, I am but shadow myself. You are deceived, my substance is not here, for what you see is but the smallest part and least proportion of humanity. I tell you, madam, were the whole frame here, it is of such a spacious, lofty pitch, your roof were not sufficient to contain it. This is a Ridley merchant for the nonce. He will be here, and yet he is not here. How can these contrarieties agree? That will I show you presently. He winds the horn, drums strike up a peal of ordnance, the gates being forced, enter soldiers. How say you, madam? Are you now persuaded that Talbot is but shadow of himself? These are his substance, sinews, arms, and strength, with which he yoketh your rebellious necks, raiseth your cities and subdueth your towns, and in a moment makes them desolate. Victorious Talbot! Pardon my abuse, no. I found thou art no less than fame hath rooted, and more than may be gathered by thy shape. Let my presumption not provoke thy wrath, for I am sorry that with reverence I did not entertain thee as thou art. Be not dismayed, fair lady, nor misconstrue the mind of Talbot as you did mistake the outward composition of his body. What you have done hath not offended me, nor other satisfaction do I crave, but only with your patience that we may taste of your wine and see what cates you have. For soldiers and stomachs always serve them well, with all my heart, and think me honored to feast so great a warrior in my house. Scene 4. London, the Temple Garden. Enter the Earls of Somerset, Suffolk, and Warwick, Richard, Plantagenet, Vernon, and a lawyer. Great lords and gentlemen, what means this silence? Dare no man answer in a case of truth? Within the Temple Hall we were too loud. The garden here is more convenient. Then say at once if I maintain the truth, or else was wrangling Somerset in the error. Faith, I had been a truant in the law, and never yet could frame my will to it, and therefore frame the law unto my will. Judge you, my lord of Warwick, then between us, between two hawks which flies the higher pitch, between two dogs which hath the deeper mouth, between two blades which bears the better temper, between two horses which doth bear him best, between two girls which hath the merriest eye. I have perhaps some shallow spirit of judgment, but in these nice, sharp quillets of the law, good faith, I am no wiser than a dog. Tut-tut! Here's a manly forbearance. The truth appears so naked on my side, that any purblind eye may find it out. And on my side it is so well apparelled, so clear, so shining, and so evident, that it will glimmer through a blind man's eye. Since you are tongue-tied and so loath to speak, in dumb significance proclaim your thoughts. Let him that is a true-born gentleman and stands upon the honor of his birth, if he suppose that I have pleaded truth, from all this briar pluck a white rose with me. Let him that is no coward, nor no flatterer, but dare maintain the party of truth, pluck a red rose from all this scorn with me. I plucked this red rose with young Somerset, and say withal I think he held the right. Stay, lords and gentlemen, and pluck no more, till you conclude that he, upon whose side the fewest roses are cropped from the tree, shall yield the other in the right opinion. Good Master Vernon, it is well objected if I have fewest I subscribe in silence. And I. Then for the truth and plainness of the case, I have plucked this pale and maiden blossom here. Given my verdict on the white rose side, prick not your finger as you pluck it off, lest bleeding you do paint the white rose red and fall on my side so against your will. If I, my lord, for my opinion bleed, opinion shall be surgeon to my hurt, and keep me on the side where still I am. Well, well, come on, who else? Unless my study and my books be false, the argument you held was wrong in you, in sign whereof I pluck a white rose too. Now, Somerset, where is your argument? Here, in my scabbard, meditating that shall dye your white rose in a bloody red. Meantime your cheeks do counterfeit our roses, for pale they look with fear as witnessing the truth on our side. No, Plantagenet, 'tis nor for fear but anger, that thy cheeks blush for pure shame to counterfeit our roses, and yet thy tongue will not confess thy error. Hath not thy rose a canker, Somerset? Hath not thy rose a thorn, Plantagenet? Eye sharp and piercing to maintain his truth. The rid there, whilst thy consuming canker eats his falsehood. Well, I'll file friends to wear my bleeding roses, that shall maintain what I have said is true, where false Plantagenet dare not be seen. Now by this maiden blossom in my hand, I scorn thee in thy faction, peevish boy. Turn not thy scorns this way, Plantagenet. Proud Pole I will, and scorn both him and thee. I'll turn my part thereof into thy throat. Away, way, good William de la Pole. We grace the yeoman by conversing with him. Now, by God's will thou wrongest him, Somerset. His grandfather was Lionel, Duke of Clarence, third son of the 3rd Edward, King of England. Spring crestless yeoman from so deep a root, he bears him on the place's privilege, or durst not. For his craven heart say thus: By him that's made me, I'll maintain my words. On any plot of ground in Christendom, was not thy father Richard Earl of Cambridge, for treason executed in our late king's days? And by his treason, standest not thou attainted, corrupted, and exempt from ancient gentry? His trespass yet lives guilty in thy blood. Until thou be restored, thou art a yeoman. My father was attached, not attained, condemned to die for treason, but no traitor, in that I'll prove on better men than Somerset, for growing time once ripened to my will. For your partaker Paul, and you yourself, I'll note you in my book of memory, to scourge you for this apprehension. Look to it well, and say you are well warned. Ah, thou shalt find us ready for thee still, and knowest by these colors for thy foes, for these my friends in spite of thee shall wear, and by my soul this pale and angry rose, as cognizance of my blood-drinking hate, will I forever in my faction wear, until it wither with me to my grave, or flourish to the height of my degree. Go forward, be choked with thy ambition, and so farewell until I meet thee next. Have with thee, Pole, farewell, and Bishop Richard. How I am brave and must perforce endure it. This blot that they object against your house shall be wiped out in the next Parliament, called for the truce of Winchester and Gloucester. And if thou be not then created York, I will not live to be accounted Warwick. Meantime, in signal of my love to thee, against proud Somerset and William Pole, will I upon thy party wear this rose. And here I prophesy this brawl today. Grown to this faction in the Temple Garden, shall send between the red rose and the white 1,000 souls to death in deadly night.
No.
Good Master Vernon, I am bound to you, that you on my behalf would pluck a flower.
Rose.
In your behalf still would I wear the same.
No.
And so will I. Thanks, gentle sir. Come, let us forward to dinner. I dare say this quarrel will drink blood another day. Scene 5, London, a room in the tower. Enter Mortimer, brought in a chair by 2 gaolers. Kind keepers of my weak decaying age, let dying Mortimer here rest himself. Even like a man new hailed from his rack, so fair my limbs with long imprisonment. And these grey locks, the pursuits of death, necessary like aged in an age of care, argue the end of Edmund Mortimer. These eyes like lamps whose wasting oil is spent, wax dim as drawing to their exigent. Weeks, shoulders overborne with burdening grief, and pithless arms, like to a withered vine that droops his sapless branches to the ground. Yet are these feet, whose strengthless stay is numb, unable to support this lump of clay, swift-winged with desire to the grave, as witting I no other comfort have. But tell me, keeper, will my nephew come? Richard Plantagenet, my lord, will come. We sent unto the temple, unto his chamber, and answer was returned that he will come. Enough. My soul shall then be satisfied. Poor gentleman, his wrong doth equal mine, since Henry Monmouth first began to reign, before whose glory I was great in arms. This loathsome sequestration have I had, and even since then hath Richard been obscured, deprived of honor and inheritance. But now the arbitrator of despairs, just death, kind umpire of men's miseries, with sweet enlargement doth dismiss me hence. I would his troubles likewise were expired, that so he might recover what was lost. Enter Richard Plantagenet. My lord, your loving nephew now is come. Richard Plantagenet, my friend, is he come? Aye, noble uncle, thus ignobly used, your nephew, late despised Richard, comes. Direct mine arms, I may embrace his neck, and in his bosom spin my latter gasp. Oi, tell me when my lips do touch his cheeks, that I may kindly give one fainting kiss. And now declare, sweet stem, from your great stock, why didst thou say of late thou were despised? First lean thine age back against mine arm, and in that ease I'll tell thee my disease. This day in argument upon a case, some words there grew twixt Somerset and me, amongst which terms he used a lavish tongue, and did unbraid me with my father's death, which obloquy set bars before my tongue, else with the like I had requited him. Therefore, good uncle, for my father's sake, in honor of a true Plantagenet, and for alliance sake, declare the cause my father, Earl of Cambridge, lost his head. That cause, fair nephew, that imprisoned me, and hath detained me all my flowering youth with a loathsome dungeon, there to pine, was cursed instrument of his decease. Discover more at large what cause that was, for I am ignorant and cannot guess. I will, if that my fading breath permit, and death approach not ere my tale be done. Henry IV, grandfather to this king, disposed his nephew Richard, Edward's son, the first begotten and the lawful heir of Edward King, the third of that descent during whose reign the Percies of the north, finding this usurpation most unjust, endeavored my advancement to the throne. The reason moved these warlike lords to this was, for that young King Richard thus removed, leaving not to heir begotten of his body, I was the next by birth and for parentage. For by my mother I derived him from Lionel Duke of Clarence, the third son to King Edward III, whereas he from John the Gaunt doth bring his pedigree, being but fourth of that heroic line. But mark, as in this haughty great attempt they labored to plant the rightful heir, I lost my liberty, and they their lives. Long after this, when Henry V, succeeding his father, Bolingbroke, did reign, the father Earl of Cambridge, then derived from famous Edmund Langley, Duke of York, married my sister, that thy mother was again in pity of hard distress, levied an army, winning to redeem and have installed me in the diadem. But as the rest, so fell the noble Earl, and was beheaded. Thus the Mortimers, in whom the title rested, were suppressed. Of which, my lord, your honor is the last. True, and thou seest that I no issue have, and that my fainting words do warrant death. Thou art my heir. The rest I wish to gather, but yet be wary in thy studious care. Thy grave admonishments prevail with me, but yet methinks my father's execution was nothing less than bloody tyranny. With silence, nephew, be thou politic. Strong fixed is the house of Lancaster, and like a mountain not to be removed. But now thy uncle is removing hence. As princes do their courts, when they are cloyed with long continuance in a settled place. Believe, uncle, would some part of my young years might but redeem the passage of your age. Thou dost then wrong me, as a slaughterer doth, which giveth many wounds when one will kill. Mourn not, except thou sorrow for my good. Only give order for my funeral. And so farewell, and fair be all thy hopes, and prosperous be thy life in peace and war. And peace no war befall thy parting soul. In prison hast thou spent a pilgrimage, and like a hermit overpassed thy days. Well, I will lock his counsel in my breast, and what I do imagine let the rest. Keepers convey him hence, and I myself will see his burial better than his life. Here dies the dusky torch of Mortimer, choked with ambition of the meaner sort. And for those wrongs, those bitter injuries, which Somerset hath offered to my house, I doubt not but with honour to redress, and therefore haste I do the Parliament, either to be restored to my blood, or make all my ill the advantage of my good. Act 3 of King Henry VI. How now? Scene 1, London, the Parliament House. Flourish, enter King Henry, Exeter, Gloucester, Warwick, Somerset, and Suffolk, and Bishop of Winchester, Richard Plantagenet, and others. Gloucester offers to put up a bill. Winchester snatches and interrogates it. I think he's pointing out that he's the king here. And he'd be William would be the king. How many? How many have you went through? Comest thou with deep premeditated lines, with written pamphlets studiously devised, Humphrey of Gloucester? If thou canst accuse or aught intents to lay unto my charge, do it without invention suddenly. As I with sudden and extemporal speech purpose to answer what thou canst object. Presumptuous priest, this place commands my patience, or thou shouldst find thou hast dishonored me. Think not, though in writing I preferred the manner of thy vile outrageous crimes, that therefore I have forged, or am not able, verbatim or to rehearse the method of my pen. No, prelate, such is thy audacious wickedness, thy lewd, pestiferous, and dissentious pranks. As very infants prattle of thy pride, thou art a most pernicious usher, froward by nature, enemy to peace, lascivious, wanton, more than well beseems a man of thy profession and degree. And for thy treachery, what's more manifest, and that thou laidst a trap to take my life, as well as London Bridge is at the Tower beside, I fear me, if thy thoughts were sifted, the king thy sovereign is not quite exempt from envious malice of thy swelling heart. I do defy thee, Lord Vouchsafe, to give me hearing what I shall reply. If I were covetous, ambitious, or perverse, as he will have me, how am I so poor? Or how haps it I seek not to advance, or raise myself, but keep my wanton calling? And for dissension, who prefers peace more than I do, except I be provoked? No, my good lord, it is not that offends, it is not that hath incensed the Duke. It is because no one should sway but he, no one but he should be about the king, and the engenders thunder in his breast, and makes him roar these accusations forth. But he shall know I am as good. As good, thou bastard of my grandfather. Aye, lordly sir, for what are you? I pray, but one in Paris and another's throne? Am I not protector, saucy priest? And am I not a prelate of the church? Yes, and an outlaw in the castle's keep, and useth it to patronage his theft. Unreverend Gloucester, thou art reverent touching thy spiritual function, and not thy life. Rome shall remedy this. Rome did it then. My lord, it were your duty to forbear. Ah, see the bishop be not overborne. Methinks my lord should be religious, and know the office that belongs to the church. Methinks his lord should be humbly. It fitteth not to prelate, so to plead. Yes, when his holy state is touched so near. State holy or unhallowed, what of that? Is not his grace protector to the king? Plantagenet, I see, must hold his tongue, lest it be said, "Speak, Sarah," when you should. Must your bold verdict enter talk with lords? Else would I have a fling at Winchester? Uncles of Gloucester and of Winchester, the special watcher of our English will, and I would prevail, if prayers might prevail, to join your hearts in love and amity. Oi, what a scandal is it to our crown, that two such noble peers as ye should jar. Believe me, lords, my tender years can tell civil dissension is a viperous worm that gnaws the bowels of the Commonwealth. Down with the tawny coats! What tumult's this? An uproar, I dare, warrant begun through mouths of the bishop's men. Into the mayor of London attend. Oi, my good lords and virtuous Henry, pity the city of London, pity us. The bishop and the Duke of Gloucester's men, forbidden late to carry any weapon, have filled their pockets full of pebble stones, and bandying themselves in contrary parts, do pelt so fast at one another's pate, that many have their giddy brains knocked out. Our windows are broke down in every street, and we for fear compelled to shut our shops. Enter, skirmishing, the serving men of Gloucester and Winchester with bloody pates. We charge you on allegiance to ourselves, to hold your slaughtering hands and keep the peace. Pray, Uncle Gloucester, mitigate this strife. Nay, if we be freed and stoned, we'll fall to it with our teeth. Do what ye dare, we are as resolute. You are my household. Leave this peevish broil, and set this unaccustomed fight aside. My lord, we know your grace to be a man, just and upright, and for your royal birth in fear to none but to his majesty, and ere that we will suffer such a prince, so kind a father of the commonweal, to be disgraced by an incorn maid. We and our wives and children all will fight, and have our bodies slaughtered by the foes. Aye, and the very parings of our nails shall pitch a field when we are dead. Stay, I say. And if you love me, as you say you do, let me persuade you to forbear a while. Oi, how his discord doth afflict my soul. Can you, my lord of Winchester, behold my sighs and tears, and will not once relent? Who should be pitiful if you be not? Or who should study to prefer a peace if only churchmen take delight in broils? Yield, my lord protector, yield, Winchester, except you mean with an obstinate repulse to slay your sovereign and destroy the realm. You see what mischief and what murder too hath been enacted through your enmity. Then be at peace, except ye thirst for blood. He shall submit, or I will never yield. Compassion on the king commands me stoop, or I would see his heart out ere the priest should ever get the privilege of me. Behold, my lord of Winchester, the Duke, hath banished moody, discontented fury, as by his smooth brows it doth appear. Why look you still so stern and tragical? Here, Winchester, I offer thee my hand. Fie, Uncle Beaufort, I have heard you preach that malice was a great and grievous sin, and will not you maintain the king you things you teach, but prove a chief offender in the same? Sweet king, the bishop hath a kindly gird. For shame, my lord of Winchester, relent. What shall a child instruct you what to do? Well, Duke of Gloucester, I will yield to thee. Love for thy love, you, and hand for hand I give. Aye, but I fear me with a hollow heart. See here, my friends and loving countrymen, this token serveth for a flag of truth betwixt ourselves and all our followers. So help me God, as I dissembled not. So help me God, as I intended not. Oi, loving uncle, kind Duke of Gloucester, how joyful am I made by this contract. Away, my masters, trouble us no more, but join in friendship as your lords have done. Content, I'll to the surgeons, and so will I. And I will see what psychic the tavern affords. Accept this scroll, most gracious sovereign, which in the right of Richard Plantagenet we do exhibit to your majesty. Well urged, my lord of Warwick, for sweet prince, and if your grace mark every circumstance, you have great reason to do Richard right, especially for those occasions at Eltham Place I told your majesty. And those occasions, uncle, were of force. Therefore, my loving lords, our pleasure is that Richard be restored to his flood. Let Richard be restored to his blood, so shall his father's wrongs be recompensed. As will the rest, so will Winchester. If Richard will be true, not that alone, but all the whole inheritance I give, that doth belong to the house of York, from whence you spring by lineal descent. Thy humble servant vows obedience, and humble servants till the point of death. Stoop then, and set your knee against my foot, and in reguerdon of that duty done, I girt thee with the valiant sword of York. Rise, Richard, like a true Plantagenet, and rise, created princely Duke of York. And so thrive, Richard, as thy foes may fall. And as my duty springs, so perish they that grudge once thought against your majesty. Welcome, high prince, the mighty Duke of York. Perish, base prince, ignoble Duke of York. Now, will it best avail your majesty to cross the seas and to be crowned in France? The presence of a king endangers love amongst his subjects and his loyal friends, as it disanimates his enemies. When Gloucester says the word, King Henry goes, for friend the council cuts off many foes. Your ships already are in readiness. Aye, we may march in England or in France, not seeing what is likely to ensue. This late dissension grown betwixt the peers burns under feigned ashes of forged blood, and will at last break out into a flame. As festered members rot but by degree, till bones and flesh and sinews fall away, so will this base and envious discord breed. And now I fear that fatal prophecy, which in the time of Henry named the fifth, was in the mouth of every sucking babe, that Henry born at Monmouth should win all, and Henry born at Windsor should lose all, which is so plain that Exeter doth wish his days may finish ere that helpless time. Scene 2, France before Rome. Enter Joan Le Pucelle, disguised in soldiers, dressed like countrymen, with sacks upon their backs. These are the city gates, the gates of Rome, through which our policy must make a breach. Take heed, be weary, how you place your words. Talk like the vulgar sort of market men that come to gather money for their corn, if we have entrance, as I hope we shall, and that we find the slothful watch but weak. I'll by a sign give notice to our friends, that Charles the Dauphin may encounter them. Our sack shall be a mean to sack the city, and we be lords and rulers over Rome. Therefore we'll knock. Qui est là? Paysan Parisian de France. Poor market folks that come to sell the corn. Enter, go in, the market bell is rung. Now, roan, I'll shake that bulwarks to the ground. Enter Charles the Bastard of Orleans, the Lenciana Forces. Saint Denis, bless this happy stratagem, and once again we'll seek secure in Rome. Here entered Pusille and her practicants. Now she is there, how will she specify where is the best and safest passage in? By thrusting out a torch from yonder tower, which once discerned shows that her meaning is no way to that for which she entered. Entered Joan of Pusille on a battlement holding on a torch burning. Behold, this is the happy wedding torch that joineth Rhone unto her countrymen, but yearning fatal to the Taboitites. See, noble Charles, the beacon of our friend, the burning torch in yonder turret stands. Now shine it like a comet of revenge, a prophet to the fall of all our foes. Defer no time, relays have dangerous ends. Enter and cry the Dauphin presently, and then do execution on the watch. Allure enter Talbot in an excursion. France, thou shalt rue this treason with thy tears, if Talbot but survive thy treachery. Pusille, that witch, that damned sorceress, hath wrought this hell's mischief unawares, that hardly we escape the pride of France. Allure excursions enter from the town. Bedford brought in sick in a chair, enter Talbot and Burgundy, and the English forces. Then enter on the walls Joan la Pusille, Charles the Bastard of Orleans, the Lencian, and others. Good morrow, gallants. Want ye corn for bread? I think the Duke of Burgundy will fast before he'll buy again at such a rate. 'Twas for Darno. Do you like the taste? Scuff on, vile fiend and shameless courtesan. I trust ere long to choke thee with thine own, and make thee curse thy harvest of the corn. Your grace may starve perhaps before that time. We let no words but deeds revenge this treason. What will you do, good greybeard? Break a lance, and run a tilt at death within a chair? Foul fiend of France, and hag of all despite, encompassed with thy lustful paramours, becomes it thee to taunt his valiant age, and twixt with cowardice a man half dead? Damsel, I'll have a bout with you again, or else let Talbot perish with his shame. Are you so hot, sir? Yet, Pusille, hold thy peace. If Talbot do but thunder, rain will follow. God speed the Parliament. Who shall be the speaker? Dare you come forth and meet us in the field? Belike your lordship takes us then for fools, to try if that our own be ours or no. I speak not to that railing Hecate, but unto thee, Helencion, and the rest. Will ye like soldiers come and fight it out? Signor, no. Signor, hang! Base mullators of France, like peasant foot boys, do they keep the walls, and dare not take up arms like gentlemen. Away, captains! Let get us from the walls. For Talbot means no goodness. By his looks, God be we you, my lord, we came but to tell you that we are here. And there will we be too, ere it be too long, or else reproach be Talbot's greatest fame. Thou, Burgundy, by honor of thy house, pricked on by public wrong sustained in France, either to get the town again or die, and I, as sure as English Henry lives, and as his father here was conqueror, as sure as in this late betrayer town great Coeur de Lion's heart was buried, so sure I swear to get the town or die. My vows are equal partners with thy vows, but ere we go, regard this dying prince, the valiant Duke of Bedford. Come, my lord, we will bestow you in some better place, fitter for sickness and for crazy age. Lord Talbot, do not so dishonor me. Here will I sit before the walls of Rome, and will be partner of your wheel of woe. Courageous Bedford, let us now persuade you not to be gone from hence, for once I read. That stout Pendragon and his litter sick came to the field and vanquished his foes. Methinks I should revive the soldiers' hearts, because I ever found them as myself. Undaunted spirit in a dying breast, then be it so. Heavens keep hold, Bedford safe, and now no more ado, brave Burgundy, but gather we our forces out of hand, and set upon our boasting enemy. Excursion, in one of which enter Sir John Falstaff and a captain. Whither away, Sir John Falstaff, in such haste? Whither away, to save myself by flight. We are like to have the overthrow again. But what, will you fly and leave Lord Talbot? All the Talbots in the world to save my life. Cowardly knight, how fortune follow thee. Excursions re-enter from the town, Joan le Pucille, Alencion, Charles, and C, an exuent flying. Now, quiet so depart, when heaven please, for I have seen our enemies overthrow what is the truth of strength of foolish man. They that of late were daring, with their scoffs are glad and fain by flight to save themselves. Re-enter Talbot, Burgundy, and others. Lost and recovered in a day again. This is a double honor, Burgundy. Yet heavens have a glory for this victory. Warlike and marital, Talbot, Burgundy, enshrines thee in his heart, and there erects thy noble deeds as valid monument. Thanks, gentle Duke. But where is Pucille now? I think her old familiar is asleep. Now where's the bastard braves and Charles's gleeks? What to all the mort? Rhone hangs her head for grief, that such a valiant company are fled. Now will we take some order in the town, placing therein some expert officers, and then depart to Paris to the king. For there young Henry with his nobles lie. What wills Lord Talbot pleases Burgundy. But yet before we go, let's not forget the noble Duke of Bedford, late deceased. But see his exequies fulfilled in Rhone. A braver soldier never coached lance, a gentler heart did never sway in court, but kings and mightiest potestates must die, for that's the end of human misery. Scene 3, the plains in Rome. Enter Charles the Bastard of Orleans, Alencion, Joan le Pucille, and forces. Dismay not, princes, at this accident, nor grieve that Rome is so recovered. Care is no cure, but rather corrosive, for things that are not to be remedied. Let frantic Talbot triumph for a while, and like a peacock sweep along his trail. We'll pull his plumes and take away his train, if Dauphin and the rest will be put ruled. Stop doing that. We'll pull his plumes and take away his train, if Dauphin and the rest will be put ruled. We have been guided by thee hitherto, and of thy cunning had no diffidence. Get out! Now! It does make a difference, yes. One sudden foil shall never... Oh, you're wrong. So here we go, she's begging now. One sudden foil should never bred distrust. Search outside wit for secret policies, and we will make thee famous through the world. Wow. You can kill that. Get out. We'll set thy statue in some holy place and have thee reverenced as a blessed saint. Employ thee, then, sweet virgin, for a good. Then thus it must. This doth Joan devise, by fair persuasions mixed with sugared words, will entice the Duke of Burgundy to leave the Talbot and to follow us. Aye, marry something, if we could do that, France were no place for Henry's warriors. Nor should that nation boast it so with us, but be extirped from our provinces. Forever should they be expulsed from France, and not have title of an earldom here. Your honor shall perceive how I will work to bring this matter to the wished end. Hark, by the sound of drum you may perceive their powers are marching to Paris forward. Here sound an English march, enter and pass over Talbot and his forces. There goes the Talbot, which his colours greet, and all the troops of the English after him. A French march enters the Duke of Burgundy and his forces. Now, in the rearward comes the Duke and his. Fortune favor makes him lag behind. Summon a parley, we will talk with him. A parley with the Duke of Burgundy. Who craves a parley with the Burgundy? The princely Charles of France, thy countryman. What sayest thou, Charles? For I am marching hence. Speak, Pucel, and enchant him with thy words. Brave Burgundy, undoubted hope of France. Stay, lest thy humble handmaid speak to thee. Speak on, but be not over tedious. Look on thy country, look on fertile France, and see the cities and the towns defaced by wasting ruin of the cruel foe, as looks the mother on her lowly babe, when death doth close her tender dying eyes. See the pining malady of France. Behold the wounds of the most unnatural wounds, which thou thyself hast given her, woeful breast. Wait, turn thy edged sword another way. Strike those that hurt, and hurt not those that help. One drop of blood drawn from thy country's bosom should grieve thee more than streams of foreign gore. Return thee therefore with a flood of tears, and wash away thy country's stained spots. Either she hath bewitched me with her words, or nature makes me suddenly relent. Besides, all French in France exclaims on thee, doubting thy birth and lawful progeny. Who joinest thou with a lordly nation that will not trust thee but for profit's sake, when Talbot hath set footing once in France, and fashioned thee that instrument of ill? Who then but English Henry will be lord, and be thrust out like a fugitive? Call we to mind, and mark but this for proof. Was not the Duke of Orleans thy foe, and was he not in England prisoner? And when they heard he was thine enemy, they set him free without his ransom paid, in spite of Burgundy and all his friends. See then, thou fightest against thy countrymen, and joinest with them will be thy slaughtermen. Come, return, thou wandering lord. Charles and the rest will take thee in their arms. I am vanquished. The haughty words of hers have battered me like a roaring cannon shot, and made me almost yield upon my knees. Forgive me, country and sweet countrymen, and lords, accept this hearty kind embrace. My forces and my power of men are yours. So farewell, Talbot, and no longer trust thee. Done like a Frenchman, turn and turn again. Welcome, brave Duke, thy friendship makes us fresh, and doth beget new courage in our beat breasts. Pucel hath bravely played her part in this, and doth deserve the coronet of gold. Now let us on, my lords, and join our powers, and seek how we may prejudice the foe. Scene 4. Paris, a room in the palace. Enter King Henry, Gloucester, Bishop of Winchester, York, Suffolk, Somerset, Warwick, Exeter, Vernon, Basset, and others, to them with the soldier Talbot. My gracious prince and honorable peers, hearing of your arrival in this realm, I have a while given truce unto my wars, to do my duty to my sovereign. In sign whereof this arm, that hath proclaimed to your obedience 50 fortresses, 12 cities and 7 whaled towns of strength, beside 500 prisoners of esteem. Let's fall his sword before your highness' feet, and with submissive loyalty of heart, ascribes the glory of his conquest got, first to my God, and next unto your grace. Is this the Lord Talbot, Uncle Gloucester, that hath so long been resident in France? Yes, if it please your majesty, my liege. Welcome, brave captain and victorious lord. When I was young, as yet I am not old, I do remember how my father said, a stouter champion never handled sword. Long since we were resolved of your youth, your faithful service, and your toil in war. Yet never have you tasted our reward, or been rewarded with so much as thanks, because till now we never saw your face. Therefore stand up, and for these good deserts, we here create you Earl of Shrewsbury, and in our coronation take your place. Now, sir, to you, that's what's so hot to see, disgracing of these colors, that I wear in honor of my noble lord of York. Darest thou maintain the former words thou spakest? Yes, sir, as well as you dare patronage the envious barking of your saucy tongue against my lord the Duke of Somerset. Sirrah, thy lord I honor as he is. Why, what is he? As good a man as York. Hark ye, not so, in witness take ye that. Villain, thou knowest the law of arms is such that whoso draws the sword 'tis present death, or else this blow should broach thy dearest blood. But I'll unto his majesty I'll crave, I may have liberty to venge this wrong. When thou shalt see, I'll meet thee to thy cost. Well, miscreant, I'll be there as soon as you, and after meet you sooner than you would.